beautiful game. My Hokies. Let's
We
see. Let's go.
we live.
Let's go.
We live.
Are we live now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see it come across. Hey, folks. All right. We're live coming to you from Maryland Live here. And we got our man out there in the big city, Dayton, Flyers, home of First in Flight.
Hmm.
Dayton was first in flight. Don't believe that Carolina stuff. Know your history. The Wright brothers were from Dayton, Ohio, and we wouldn't be getting around if it weren't for Dayton, Ohio, and the Wright brothers. Tell them, Jody. Tell them how they try to take it away from you.
Hey, they try to take it away. It's crazy because I was in the Marine Corps. We used to have like the North Carolina place, and they had like the flight on there, and I had to set them straight at the DMV. Like, hey, listen, I'm from Dayton, Ohio. This is how we get down, man. The Wright brothers are from right here in Dayton, Ohio, man. We just
Yeah,
they just took they made the first diverse airplane or whatnot, and they took it to North Carolina because of course they had the coast to get off of. They didn't have nowhere to get off of. That's only why I was down in North Carolina.
see? Look, guys, you come in for sports and you get a history lesson. That's what my man out there in the Midwest. Now, he Ohio State fan. So, folks, hold on now, because they got Maryland in a couple of weeks. So, we going to see if they body. So, Jody, I'm going to tell you who's body are them Eagles. Eagles. They body. Talk to me about that trade.
Man, that trade right there. I mean, if they don't, it's almost put too much pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles because you get a premier pass rusher. Robert Quinn had 18 and a half sacks just last year. He came in the same draft. If y'all don't know, he came in the same draft with J.J. Watt, Justin Houston. He was in that same draft, but he's playing better than both of those guys. He's probably playing the best football out of that draft. And
Wow.
I was kind of scratching my head because the Chicago Bears had a pretty good defense, but Philadelphia is so scary at this point. So now they can rush the passer. They got the push up the middle with uh with Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis. You still got Brandon Graham on the other side. You got you got the linebacker Hassan Reddick. I mean, you got the rookie and the Kobe Dean. You got two of the best set of corners, if not the best set of corners in the league, and Bradbury and Slade. Offensively, Jalen Hurts is not turning the ball over. Only two interceptions through 6 weeks. The running game is solid. AJ Brown is solid. Dallas Goddard is solid. The offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the game. If Philly don't win, the pressure's on. If Philly, out of all these moves, if Philly don't win, it's a disappointment. And I don't mean get to the Super Bowl. They got to win it. And I don't care who they play, because right now, from top to bottom, nobody has a better roster than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay. So talk to me about the other trade that Kansas City made. Talk to me about that one now.
Now, they brought in Tony, Kadarius Tony from the Giants, who the problem with that is they don't need any help. Like, I didn't really think they needed wide receiver help. I think that Juju Smith-Schuster was coming along. Valdez Scandrick was coming along. You already got Kelsey. Hartman has been coming along. He had a couple games where he had multiple touchdowns. So I don't know where Tony fits in, but we talking about Andy Reid. We talking about Eric Bieniemy. We talking about Patrick Mahomes. They're going to find a way. They might even line that young man up in the backfield, but he hasn't played a game this year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really curious about this trade. You still got the young guy in Sky Moore that you're trying to develop. And I mean, they're in first place. The Kansas City Chiefs in the first place. They should win that division. They should be trying to fight for home field with Buffalo, depending on. I think Buffalo will lose a couple games, and if they do, because of the head-to-head matchup, we'll go to Buffalo if it's a tie. But if it's not, and Kansas City gets an opportunity to play at home again, like you said on Monday, Patrick Mahomes has never played a role playoff game.
Which is amazing to me. In all these years, he's made the playoffs 4 straight times. He's been home for the AFC Championship.
4 years in a row.
And 4 years in a row. And he's never played a road playoff game. So I don't know if it's going to start this year based upon how the AFC's falling. It seems like them and Buffalo are on a collision course to meet each other. But his first playoff game on the road may be in Buffalo.
But see, this is the thing, though, when you talk about Buffalo. Buffalo had started off like this last year, and remember, they didn't get the number 1 seed and went to the Tennessee Titans. And actually, they fell behind the Kansas City Chiefs last year. They were the 3rd seed in the playoffs. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a new year, new day, but you know what's bothering me a lot, Tony, and for everybody out there listening, is I know Josh Allen is a good quarterback, and you know Joe Burrow is a good quarterback. Can we stop putting these guys above Patrick Mahomes? You just said he's been to 4 straight AFC Championship games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls and he won 1. He's been an MVP. These guys have not accomplished any of those things as of yet. So stop putting, like, it's like y'all want to bury this guy. And what bothers me is when the height of Tom Brady and the height of Peyton Manning, y'all never put anybody above those guys. So stop putting people above Patrick Mahomes, who could possibly go down as the best quarterback we ever seen.
Hey, man, I don't think these people are used to seeing these black quarterbacks doing all this other stuff. So they got to get used to that a little bit, and they just firing shots to see if it stick. But it ain't gonna stick with us who know this stuff, and we can call you out on that crap. If you good, you're good. Y'all better stop this unrealistic shit that y'all do against African American quarterbacks. If they good, we're gonna praise them. When they messing up, we're gonna get on their butt. But we want y'all to do the same thing too now, because it seems like we're only getting the mess ups. Oh, they can't throw. They can't just. But guess what? There's no more pocket passes left. After the Ravens tear that ass up tonight, and Brady won't be around no more, he is the last. Him and that clown over in Indianapolis are the last of the Mohicans of the pure pocket passer. There is no more. That is gone. So I don't want to hear that. He can't throw from the pocket. He can't throw from the pocket. That's full of shit. If you're going to talk football, talk it real with us. If not, take that social, racial shit somewhere else, because we know this goddamn sport. And get used to it. You too are going to have a black quarterback coming your way, so you better get used to it on your team.
And you know it's crazy, and like I said, I hate to get into it. You made a good point. If you could play the game, you can play the game. I don't think it should be. It's like when it comes to Lamar Jackson, it comes to Patrick Mahomes, when it comes to Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, they move the goalposts. They keep moving the goalposts, and it's always a different circumstance that has to make them one of the best in the game. Now, going back to Deshaun Watson, people think like Deshaun, okay, what's the difference between, and I'm not talking about his off the field, I'm just talking about the time he's been gone. What's been different than when Peyton Manning went out with a neck injury? Remember Peyton Manning went out with a neck injury, then he came back and he ended up being with the Denver Broncos. And he came off of injury, but he never missed a beat. So why do everybody think that Deshaun Watson is going to miss a beat when he's not even injured? And that's what I mean by moving the goalposts. You see what I'm saying? Deshaun Watson is not out with injury, so he can practice, he can lift weights, he can read the playbook, he can. And I know there's no substitute for being on the field, but it's no different than somebody getting hurt, Tony. And it's better for him because he's not coming off of an injury.
Well, Joe, listen, we've expressed how we feel. With criticism, either way. I love Lamar Jackson right now. I think he's pressing his game. They're going to be on tonight. I think Lamar Jackson needs to sit back, Duvernay, and what's my man from Minnesota?
Bateman.
Those two are the key for the Ravens. Because it seems like to me Lamar is pressing this game. He needs to sit back and he needs to take what they give him, and those guys need to step up because he needs a 1 and a 2 receiver. He cannot do it all, Jody. He cannot do it all.
And if he doesn't do it tonight, if those 2 guys you just named don't get it done tonight, it's a problem. I'm going to tell you why. They're missing their 2 starting cornerbacks in Button and they missing the other kid. Both of the guys are out for Tampa Bay and Antonio Wingfield Jr. So you mentioned 3 starting people in the secondary. So if you can't get it done against the backup, then you might not need to be a starter.
You might not need to be a starter on the team. But yeah,
So,
hey, folks, TD report. We got Jody Coleman coming in from the Midwest. We're waiting on Dave. Dave is thinking stuck on the highway. Virginia Tech is about to play NC State. Talk to me. Virginia Tech's having a tough season right now. NC State's having a good season. What do you think about tonight's game?
well, see, it all depends because NC State was having a pretty decent season until they lost their quarterback Larry for the season, and he was a guy that knew the system. And you got to think they only had 1 loss when he went out, and now I think they have lost back-to-back games. I think in NC State, Syracuse beat them. And NC State was a team. If you go back to the beginning of the season, people have picked them to make the playoffs because of that veteran leadership from that quarterback. So you look at Avad Tech, who's been almost in rebuild mode. They got a lot of young guys, young coaching staff. So in this game tonight, I'm going to lean towards NC State just for the simple fact that I think they got more veterans on their team. They got a lot of juniors. They got a lot of seniors. They're still pretty good defensively. I think they beat Virginia Tech, no disrespect, because I know, hey, I represent you where you came from. You was a prime time running back there. But I think just being a football guy, NC State will probably win this game about 24-20. I like NC State winning this game.
My heart is telling me Virginia Tech, but my head is telling me NC State. I like what Tech is doing. They're getting back to their roots. They're trying to run the ball. They're trying to play good defense. So, you know, I like what those staff is doing. Fry down there, my man J.C. Price. I like what Virginia Tech is doing. I like how they're running things, but I think NC State has a little bit too much for them tonight. But we'll see. Game just kicked off.
Hey, you got another year eligibility to get back out there.
Hey, get that old 33 out there, baby. Just one more time. You saw my Facebook post today.
Hey, I see.
Going over the top.
Hey,
for the walk-off in 1990.
Hey, you was a touchdown machine, man. Didn't you lead? Weren't you the all-time leading rushing touchdown when you left?
When I left, I was number 2 in touchdown. Now I'm way down the list now. But then, and I shared time with my man who got 2 Super Bowl rings. So listen, man, we didn't get all that time. I wish I would have played with a lot of other people and had all the scholarships. But it's something about building this right here. We built that. And that's why I love it, man. I support those guys. I think they're doing a hell of a job recruiting. Now, what they're not doing a great job at is taking care of the ex-players. They need to do a better job of taking care of the ex-players and make sure that we get tickets to games so we can network, because we're not even able to come and network. So
you know what? I'm glad you said that, because if you look at the major universities that are still, you look at your Alabamas, your USCs, your Ohio States, now your Georgias, your LSUs, you always, especially in major games, you see those guys that play for them on the sideline. And the biggest one is USC. You always see the Willie McGinnises. You always see the Ronnie Lotts, the Mark Carriers of the world. You see those guys on the sideline, the Troy Polamalos. You see those guys on the sideline. And when you put that former players that play NFL, they can show off their Super Bowl rings, they can show off their championship rings at USC, those younger guys, they tend to want to play better. You look at Miami, that's what I think happened to Miami. Miami probably has the best alumni, period, when it comes to ex-players. I mean, they probably got more. I don't know if any team in history has produced more than Miami.
Miami, Ohio State, Alabama. Miami are the old, Ohio State in between, and Alabama now. So, I mean, yeah, and then Michigan, Notre Dame, your Penn State.
Florida.
I mean, they got them. Your Floridas, your Florida State. Oddly enough, NC State, Maryland, a lot of those teams got guys that have been there a lot.
Don't forget about Wisconsin and Penn State. They got some.
Wisconsin, yes, Penn State.
Oregon.
So, I mean, Oregon's been producing them. So, it's something to be able to come back look down that sideline and see a guy that you remember playing when you were 6, 7, 8 years old. That's recruiting. And people don't understand that. The big picture of recruiting. Recruiting is 24/7, 365.
Right.
There's no breaks in recruiting. Everything you do. Then, I'm here watching folks. We're here watching Virginia Tech, NC State. NC State is 5-2. They're number 24 in the country. Now, the one thing about Virginia Tech, towards Halloween and on, we start playing better ball, no matter what. That's because I think that we are a running team and we try to impose our will on you. That's how Tech plays. So let's see if it works out tonight. I mean, they're outmatched tonight. I give NC State that, but that's why you play the game, right?
We always say on the TD report that running the football is an attitude. It's not if you, it's an attitude. It's a bully mentality. And when I say bully, I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody. What I mean by bully mentality, I'm talking about in the football sense of where you dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides. You dominate the defense line and offensive line. And a lot of teams need to get back to running the football. If we could segue that to the higher team like Ohio State, who didn't run the ball well against Iowa last week. To be honest, Georgia hasn't really ran the ball that well this year. Alabama has ran it decent, but it's not like years past. So what do you think going into October? Now we're about to get in November. Now every game and every snap means something for those top-ranked teams to make the playoffs, and Alabama's already taken a loss. What's going to be the difference down the stretch for these college football teams at the top?
All things are equal. Running the ball in the quarterback position. Do you have that quarterback? And that's what's probably going to hold Michigan back, because I don't put him with C.J. Stroud. I don't put him with the Alabama quarterback. Hell, I don't even put him with the Georgia quarterback, because that guy's been there.
Yeah, Stinson is a sneaky good guy that can probably be a 4th or 5th round draft pick and maybe slip onto somebody's team next season. And then you got Bryce Young, who, even though they lost that game to an upstart Tennessee, which we're not even mentioning Tennessee, I think they got to be in the mix when we talk playoffs now.
What's their quarterback's name?
Which one?
Tennessee.
Is that the Henson guy?
Where did he come from?
He came from Vatech. So I mean,
killing it.
Sometimes it's but you know what, Tony? I'm gonna have to go with this. Sometimes it's a change of scenery. Sometimes these kids need an opportunity to play in different places. It may not have been nothing wrong with Vatech. The system might have not been set up for him. Tennessee had been down for a long time, and for him to go over there, they got all new offensive coordinators. They got all new coordinators, all new coaches, and I think that offense just fit his style of play. Mm-hmm. Now, when you looking at these top teams, you got the Tennessees, you got your Georgias, and you got Tennessee. Somebody not gonna make it out of them three. And let's not even talk about how the way LSU been playing football. LSU been playing some doggone good football. And I gotta, Brian Kelly, I'm not one of his fans, but you gotta take your hat off to him.
Doing a great job, ain't he?
Think about it. He took Cincinnati to the promised land. He made Cincinnati a double-digit team win when they never did that before. He went to Notre Dame, was winning 10, 11 games a season. And now he's at LSU, who he has a better opportunity to recruit. So let's see what Brian Kelly can do at LSU, because they're 5-2 right now.
5-2.
So, and that's the very difficult SEC. But they just put a smackdown on Ole Miss last week.
They put a smackdown on
Ole Miss.
Yeah, it was Ole Miss. Yes, it
was. And you got to think, Ole Miss was undefeated until they ran into LSU.
Yes, they were. So yeah, it's getting crazy, man.
So then let's go ahead and let's give a shout out to Syracuse. They got an African American black coach up there too, and he's 6. I believe he's 6-1.
Yes, he is. Yes,
so he is. We looking at teams that are really starting to separate themselves. They're starting to separate themselves from the pack. And Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, is Clemson still undefeated?
Yes, they are.
They seem like the team. They seem like they lose every week. It just seemed like Clemson just seemed like they got like 3 losses. Don't it feel like Clemson? Like I don't
They,
know. I don't know, man.
you know who Clemson remind me of? That 2002 Ohio State team, where it seemed like they were losing, but they weren't.
Yeah.
They just all of a sudden, and they end the game. And you know who's like that in the pros? The New York Giants. It feels like they lost 3-4 games.
And they got 1 loss.
One loss. If they didn't play Dallas, they would be undefeated.
But
They would be 7-0.
You know, my thing is Brian Daboll feel like he's above schedule because not only that, with trading Kadarius Toney, who has not even been a part of them winning and getting draft picks in return. Listen, man, the sky could be the limit for the New York Giants because if you look at the 2 tackles that they picked the last 3 years, they got the Andrews kid and now they got the kid Evans. So they got 2. That's 2 bookends right there. Defensively, you get Thibodeau. This kid has not been getting the accolades because he hasn't been getting the sacks. But if you watch him play, he has a motor out there. He's always in the line of. I wonder how many. I got to check and see how many pressures he had. He's always tipping the ball. He's always around the ball. You know, he's in the quarterback's face.
He made the biggest play against Green Bay and the biggest play against the Ravens. He tipped the play against Green Bay and he sacked Lamar and strip sack cover against Lamar. So just the last 3 MVPs, he's come to play.
And let's not forget about Leonard Williams, who don't ever seem to get any accolades of being one of the top defensive linemen in his game. Leonard Williams just missed his first game of his career early this season. He had never missed a game.
Wow. So, folks, we on here talking about we done went back to the NFL, kind of getting you in for this weekend. What are you looking at as we get to the halfway point? What stands out to you, Jody, right now in the NFL? What is standing out? I mean, give me your thoughts on that.
You know what, Tony? You know what stands out is that nobody's out of this. Nobody with the adding of the 17 to the playoffs, nobody is really eliminated. And they like, well, what about Houston? What about Detroit? If Houston and Detroit go on a 2-game winning streak, they back in the thick of things. You understand what I'm saying? Like you're back in it, and nobody is truly running away but Philadelphia. Philadelphia look like they about to be in the lead of their own. You got the Giants at 61, but I don't know if the Giants can keep up this type of pace. And I'm not saying they can't, but I don't know. Dallas right now is going to get better because they got Dak, and they got Dak another week that's healthy. They understand that the running game and the offensive line and their defense is what's going to get them over.
Mm-hmm.
You still got Kansas City. We don't know what the Chargers are going to be because they got so many injuries. We don't know what Raiders going to be. We don't know what the Browns going to be. They hoping that Deshaun Watson can pull off a 6-game winning streak when he comes back. We don't know if that's going to be possible. But no, the true takeaway from this season, almost at midpoint, is nobody is out of it. You got teams like the Jets and Giants that have surprised the hell out of me.
Yes.
You're looking at the NFC South, and you don't have a team that's over 500. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the top team in that division. They're 3-4. And actually, they're not even the top team in that division. It's actually Atlanta, because didn't Atlanta beat them?
Yes. Atlanta's the number 1 team.
So actually, Atlanta is, if the playoffs start today, the Atlanta Falcons will have
Atlanta and Seattle are leading those divisions, and we thought that they would both be last place.
I mean, they still got.
What do they both have in common?
Black quarterback.
They have a quarterback that we didn't think that was going to be worth anything. But what those quarterbacks have done, they have sat and they've watched, and now they don't listen. If those quarterbacks don't demand a lot of money, that means they can fix everything else on their team. Atlanta and Seattle are my big surprises in the NFC. They are dangerous, folks. They play good defense. They're who are mobile, and they ain't turning the ball over. Those are going to be hell. It's going to be hell playing teams like that. You may think Philly is running away with it. But styles make fights. Okay? Philadelphia want to play a quarterback that don't move and just look and sit back here and wait for their pressure to get to them. You remember, teams who like to, and I always say this, because your quarterback run and teams that like to run, they don't like playing against other teams who do the same damn thing.
Yeah, but Philly played against Kyler Murray and they kind of handled him, so he's one of the most.
Whoa.
They didn't score a
That
touchdown
ball
against.
They were driving at the they scored a touchdown. They were driving at the end of the game.
Yeah, it
to
was
win the game.
17. It was 17-14, right?
Yes.
But I mean,
Yeah.
but 14 points is not a lot of points in this league. 14 points, you ain't beat nobody with 14 points a game.
And 17 points, you ain't gonna beat too many people either.
Yeah, but you can get away with it when you got as much talent, and then you adding Robert Quinn. You might listen, Tony. You adding a guy that had 18 and a half sacks last year. That's a lot of doggone sacks.
Right now, they got to be the odds-on favorite to represent the NFC. I don't even know what the numbers are. I'll talk to my bookie, my boy here who knows the numbers here. But I bet you that trade today put them the odds-on favorite to win the NFC. Not the East, but the whole NFC.
But you got to think about it. They got home. Right now they got at least a 2-game advantage on home field right now because they beat the Minnesota Vikings, who was the only other team. Nobody's talking about Minnesota.
Nobody's talking about it. Yeah, you're right.
Nobody. Right. They're 5-1. Nobody talk about Minnesota. And you got to think because the Giants and Cowboys are in the same division. The only other team that can possibly be the second seed would be the Minnesota Vikings. You already know that the Seattle Seahawks is 4-3, and the Atlanta Falcons right now are 3-4. So you got to think at the Philadelphia Eagles literally has a 2-game lead on anybody because they got the victory against Minnesota, so they get the tiebreaker, and they got a 1-game lead on it. So right now, after 7 weeks, Philadelphia already had a 2-game cushion for home field.
Yeah, and technically, they only got a half game on the Giants. So the Giants got played them twice. In the win-loss, they only got a 1 game. Giants control their own destiny because they play the Eagles twice. Well, and they got to play the Vikings.
No, I'm saying if the playoffs started today, they got a 2-game lead.
If it started today, yeah. If it started today, they good. But, hey, folks, it's a TD Report. We're coming to you. I'm live over here, getting ready. You see all the people here waiting on the Ravens and the Bucks. Talk to me about this Ravens and Bucks game. What are we looking for? What do you think going to be the key tonight in this big matchup?
You know what? The key tonight is going to be who has the healthiest team at the end of the night. Because if you look at the Tampa Bay side of the ball, they're missing three of their starting defensive backs. They're missing Julio Jones won't be in uniform. Gage won't be in uniform. So they're banged up. But if you look at the Ravens side of the ball, J.K. Dobbins is out. Calais Campbell he won't be playing today. He's out with an illness. So who is healthy enough to play? That's what it's going to boil. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot down there because they're playing in Tampa. But I defensively, Tampa Bay still got some young dogs out there. Some of their secondary guys going to have to step up.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens right now, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's one thing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can do is stop the run. But the problem with Tampa Bay, they can't run the ball. Leonard Fournette, I don't know what happened to him, but Leonard Fournette went from one of the top backs last year. So I don't know what he is right now. Like he had literally like 19 yards last game.
Hey man, he looked good that first game against Dallas. He was killing Dallas. So I thought it was going to be one of those things. But you notice, as Leonard Fournette goes, Tampa Bay goes. Because Brady doesn't get that good old play action, holding the linebackers. Them dudes ain't open.
No.
Them dudes ain't open.
And the thing you looking at, look, Father Time is undefeated. And I think everybody, for the most part, like I said, I think Tom Brady's the best. But then again, I really don't because I think some of his championships he cheated on, but that's another discussion. I think that Joe Montana is really the best. But for argument's sake, Tom Brady is the GOAT. And he still has 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. let's put that in perspective. Any quarterback in the league that had 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception, we're talking about them having an MVP year. But when it's Tom Brady doing that, it's almost like it's not good enough.
8 touchdowns in 7 games. That's not Brady-like.
Right. It's not Brady-like, but if you look at 20 other quarterbacks in the league, we talking about them having, if that's Danny Dimes, I'm not sure what his stats is right now. I got to check that. We're talking about how great Danny Dimes is playing. I guarantee you he don't have more than 8 touchdown passes. Matter of fact, I'm about to find out for sure. You know, Jalen Hurts only got 6 touchdown passes. And we're talking about him as an MVP candidate.
Hey, folks, we giving Danny Dimes his name back here on the TD report. We apologize to Danny Dimes because Danny Dimes, I was calling him Danny Nichols and Danny Penny. He is doing his job. He is doing his job. You got to give credit when they are doing well. You give credit. But I am telling you right now, I think that Cincinnati team is getting hot right now.
Hold on, before you get to Cincinnati, Daniel Jones has 1,223 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and we think he having a career year. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the stigma on who is doing what? Because Tom Brady, I know he got 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Let me see how many yards he has. So Tom Brady
got to have about 1,500 to 2,000.
He got 1,942 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And we talking about he ain't getting it done.
We talking about practice. And not the game.
And if Mike Evans don't drop that wide open touchdown pass, that's at least 9 touchdown passes for him. So listen, I mean, we can say what we want, and I understand it's a quarterback-driven league, but Tom Brady is not having a bad season. He's not even having a bad season according to his standards because he's on pace to still have about 25 touchdown passes and over 4,000 yards.
Hey, dude, I just got a text that said Chase is out 4 to 6 more weeks.
Yes.
Chase Young?
No, Chase. Jamar Chase is out 4 to 6 weeks battling a hip injury.
Cincinnati.
Now, I'm going to say this on the TD report, and please forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn. But it's awfully ironic his baby mom has become, she's been saying all this stuff about him being a deadbeat and abusive, and all of a sudden he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Is he really out, or is he taking care of his personal issues?
Well, maybe it might have just got lucky to do the same thing. But
let me ask you this. Tony, when you was in the NFL, what day did they look at injuries? Wasn't it Monday?
Yeah.
So why we
out on Monday?
So why we finding out Thursday he out 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah,
Thursday.
Dude.
Injury reports, especially if it's that bad of an injury, you know, if you want to, especially a star player like Jamar Chase, they're gonna make sure if he got hurt in the game on Sunday, which he didn't look like he had any ill effects because he had his best game of the season.
Yep.
So
yeah, his best game.
But I'm only speculating, guys. I don't know anything. I'm just speculating.
And just when Cincinnati was getting hot, the Super Bowl losing curse hit them. And that Super Bowl losing curse is real, folks. You don't, for some reason, they don't get back there. They have a hard time making the playoffs. It's just something about it. It's only been 18 and 56 Super Bowls to ever lose a Super Bowl and get back. That is amazing stat right there.
That's only like what? That's only like 15% or something like that?
Somewhere around there, that's a low percentage, man. That's not big time percent.
But let's talk about this too, Tony. So I'm gonna throw this stat out there, and I'm not saying it because I'm a Cleveland fan, but we're 7-1 the last 8 games against the Bengals.
It's about to be 8-1 because if they ain't got Chase, they can't beat y'all.
They couldn't beat us with Chase.
Exactly. So if they ain't got that dude, they cannot beat you guys.
Because him,
period.
I'm gonna throw another stat at you. Denzel Ward only gave up 2 catches to Jamar Chase last year.
Wow. And Chase to me was unstoppable.
Not against Denzel Ward. I don't know what Denzel Ward did against him and Justin Jefferson because he had a good game against Justin. But nobody, even Devontae Adams, and I think I sent that in the production meeting that he against the 3 top wide receivers, none of those guys had over 80, 85 yards receiving against him.
Thank you, man. Hey, can you take this? Thank you. Yeah, bro.
But I mean, Cleveland really. You see my name. They better win because if not, I mean, they're already talking about dealing Kareem Hunt to the Atlanta Falcons. But I'm not mad about that because if you take him out the lineup, you know, somebody was saying, well, you can't get the ball to Nick Chubb 40 times a game. You can't get it 20, 40 times. But like I said, if Nick Chubb ain't doing this, and if you play football, you know what this means, right? That means you're tired for all the people that don't know. If he ain't doing that, give him the ball.
Give him the ball, home team. Give him the ball.
Because guess who they gave the ball to last Sunday, 30 times. They gave it to Derrick Henry 30 times in the 1910 victory for Tennessee because they know right now Tennessee is in must-win mode. They're quietly being one of the better teams in the league again, and we're not talking about it. They're what are they, 4-2? Or 4-2?
Wait a minute. I just got it. Shane, is Hunt going to the Eagles?
Did they do a trade already?
Go check it. Please don't tell me the Eagles got him too. Man, please tell me that's false.
Hold on.
Tell me that's false. I'm about to pull a Denzel in Malcolm X movie when he hit it, be like, damn.
I don't see anything.
Please tell me that's false.
I don't see anything on ESPN.
Tony's out there in Cleveland, folks. He's out there in Ohio. He'll be able to tell us if that's fake. I tell you one thing. Philadelphia is going hard, baby. It's something about them Eagles. They ain't playing around. They said maybe my guess. He said his guess, so I don't think it's real. It better not be.
He's still a Brown as of now.
Still a Brown as of right now. So, folks,
that don't mean it's not gonna happen. But right now,
Monday night, Halloween, Tuesday. Folks, Monday we're going to go do a second anniversary of Herb Adderley passing away. It'll be 2 years come Sunday, and our Monday show, we want to dedicate that Monday show to Herb Adderley, the original shutdown corner. We had that conversation with Cody. We were going back and forth. It was a great conversation. Cody's young boy kind of telling us, helping us older folk out. So what we said to him is, I call it scheme down corner because the way the game is being played right now, there's no such thing as a shutdown corner because you can't go and follow a guy all the way around. They don't do that no more. And the way the game is made for offenses to flourish. So if it's made for offense to flourish, you have to basically be a scheme down corner where they scheming away from you because you're not following that dude flip-flopping the formation and following him, bump and run 90% of the time. That doesn't happen anymore, folks. So whether you want to call him a lockdown, just don't call him shutdown. I don't give a shit what you call it. You put a choke on it and call it blue dog shit. Don't call it blue magic.
I think both of you guys are right. I think I watched it. I saw the conversation between you and Cody, and I believe both of you made great points. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying, hey, you can't be a shutdown corner because but the offensive philosophies have got more complex. And they move the star receiver. They put the star receiver in the slot. They put the star receiver on the outside the numbers. You see some star receivers lined up in the backfield. So it's almost impossible for that guy. That'll mess up the whole dynamics of the defense if that guy followed him around on the field. So I get what you're saying. It's a scheme thing. But when we looking at guys, when they do get matched up one-on-one, I don't think it's any pure shutdown corners in the game. Not anymore. I haven't seen a pure shutdown corner probably since Darrelle Revis, maybe.
Revis.
Because I like Richard Sherman, but Richard Sherman wasn't a shutdown.
He was a zone down corner.
But he was dope. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not taking anything away from corners of the day, but it's like Tony said, it's no possible way because of the way that they hide and disguise. Look how many times they put Cooper Kupp in the slot where you can't take an outside guy and put him because that's not where he's the most comfortable at. You see what I'm saying? So you can't bring a bigger corner and put him on the slot receiver because you're going to get murdered on those option routes. You're going to get murdered. I don't care how good you are. You're going to get killed on the option route unless it's a blitz. So you can't really do that. So I understand. So playing corner is a very difficult, because you got to be a zone guy. Look at what happened to J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson signed with the Chargers for a lot of money. He's out for the season. And he got benched before he went out, Tony. And we remember what we said.
Jesse.
He got benched before he was hurt.
Exactly.
So
why? Because that system produced what? What does Bill Belichick do? He finds a way to hide them corners, maximize their stuff. If we wrong, what do they do when they leave? When they leave that system, what do they do? What do they coaches do? What do they corners do when they leave that system? It's the system.
And my thing is, I don't think no coach or players have to apologize for playing well in the system. I think that's just a part of the game. That's just great coaching. Because if a guy puts you in a position to be successful, I don't think that should be a knock on your career. That goes back to Emmitt Smith or goes back to J.C. Jackson in New England or whatever cornerback. You got Ashanti Samuels. He was one of the only people who was able to leave and still have success as a defensive back. My thing is, I don't have a problem with players playing this system like a Richard Sherman in the Legion of Boom or you know what I'm saying. But my thing is, when you play in a system, you better be the best at it. And I think New England, if I'm New England, I would never leave as a coach because what coach has been successful really since they left was Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was assistant there though.
No, Vrabel was a player. Vrabel was assistant somewhere else.
Oh,
yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, okay. He was a player. He didn't assist there. See, because Bill Belichick, listen, he oversees it all now. He don't just let you go run your thing. Josh McDaniels showing you, hey man, it's Bill Belichick.
And not to mention, New England has a little farm system called the Alabama Crimson Tide. Come on, man.
So does the Baltimore Ravens with their linebackers in secondary.
But
Baltimore Ravens had a lot too. Ozzie went to Alabama.
Right, but what I'm saying about Nick Saban and Bill Belichick's relationship.
So they good friends.
They talk every day. So you telling me on a private conversation, he ain't telling Bill Belichick like, hey, I got this linebacker, man. I'm not gonna play him a lot. I'm gonna hold him back so you can get him in the 5th round so you can look like a genius. Oh, y'all don't want to hear that. Yeah. My fault. Y'all don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. Tony, you want me to log off? You want me to log off? Because they don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear the real stuff.
They don't want to hear that you telling me that you got a 5-star recruit, was the most sought after recruit in the country. All of a sudden, he can't touch the field for Alabama. But then all of a sudden, here comes Belichick picking him in the 7th round, and now he's a Pro Bowler. Yeah. And Bill Belichick's a genius. Look at he picked this guy in the 7th round.
Yeah. So
miss me with that, man. Miss me with that, man.
Miss me with that. Hey, tonight's game, I think what's going to happen, I think the Ravens are going to settle down, and I think that they're going to get after Tom Brady's ass tonight. They're going to stop the run, which they always do, and they're going to get after Brady's ass tonight.
Hold on.
I think they're going to
Stop. They're going to stop what run? They didn't stop the run last week. You know who stopped Nick Chubb?
Y'all got the best running damn team in the country.
But you know who stopped the run? Kevin Stefanski is the best defensive player in the league.
Hey, you better leave that dude alone, man. Leave him alone, man. You leave him alone, man. It's the Cleveland Browns. You just got to hope for the second half of that season y'all pick it up. And when y'all quarterback get back, which makes a difference, he will come back in with a vengeance and come back and go at these cats so hard, which I think will happen. And he's right. Shane says Lamar needs to let the game come to him. You know why Lamar ain't letting the game come to him? Because that money ain't come to him. Had he got that money coming to him, then he would be straight. But see, right now, he's not straight.
Lamar Jackson right now is victim of not having a running game. Like, we got to understand, Lamar Jackson is a quarterback that has to have pieces around him. As good as he is, as good as any quarterback is, nobody can go out here and just produce on their own. And we know how that offense is set up. And with J.K. Dobbins being out the lineup, that is major. We talking about a guy potentially could have went for 1,200 yards rushing. You got Gus Edwards, but Gus Edwards is a change of pace. He's not an every down back. Kenyon Drake. So it's not even about him not having a primary weapon in it. I think Rashad Bateman and Duvernay and Mark Andrews are pretty solid for him, and the other tight end and Isaiah Likely. I think he got enough weapons, but if you don't have a running game, and he's first of all, anybody listen, Lamar Jackson is the 5th leading rusher in the NFL again.
Wow.
He's the 5th leading rusher in the NFL, and he's not even running the ball like he did in years past. So it's not the fact that he's pressing. A lot of these teams can kind of sit back. I don't even think he needs a number one receiver. I know y'all gonna be like, y'all gonna kill me in the comments or whatever. I don't think he needs a number one receiver. I just think they need to find a formula like they've been doing. And Mark Andrews is his number one. Rashad Bateman and Duvernay just got to make timely catches. That's all you need. And then, but they can't run the ball right now. I don't think Baltimore can run the ball right now.
So tonight, who are you picking? What's the score? Coming straight from you right now.
Well, I struck out last on Monday night, but I've been right on the other games. I struck out Monday night. But tonight, I'm going Tampa Bay. And let me tell you why I'm going Tampa Bay. For the simple fact, I know Tampa Bay is hindered. Yeah, I'm going Tampa Bay. I know that the reason why is Tom Brady for one. I think they're going to come with I think Brian Leftwich is going to set up something, and he's seen something in that Cleveland game that Raven defense is vulnerable to. You got to remember, Calais Campbell is not playing. You know what killed them? You know Nick Chubb had 96 yards rushing on limited carries. You know he only had 16 carries. They was on the right side of the line. Tony, on that right side of the line. Now Calais Campbell won't be there. That's where they're going to make their money, running on that right side of the line.
Shane said 27-10 Ravens.
2017. I got Tampa Bay. I think that the Tampa Bay defense is vulnerable. They gave them 20 to Cleveland. I think Tampa Bay comes back. They beat them 28-20. 28-20.
That's a lot of points. 28-20. 28-20. Hey, Ross, what's the over-under in the game? What is the over-under? My boy on here saying 28-20. And you close because the over-under is 40-45.
28. I like, and the reason why, like I said, it's 28-20 because one thing that Tampa Bay can do is, Tony, check me out. They can stop the run, and they have the second most sacks in the NFL. They got 11 different players with a sack. So you don't know where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? You don't know where they're blitzing from. You got 11 different players with a sack. They probably got the best linebacking core in the NFL with David, White, Barrett. They may have the best linebacking core. You don't know where they're going to come at. Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson been sacked double-digit times this season.
24-21 Ravens.
Okay.
24-21 Ravens. I think it's something about this. The Ravens need this game. I think Tampa's season is over.
No, it's not. They're in first place.
I think their season is over. They would have lost to Atlanta if they didn't call that crazy stuff. They lost to who they lose to? They lost to Carolina.
They lost Carolina.
Maybe you lose to Carolina. Carolina's terrible.
Maybe that's why Maybe that's why they lost, is because they underestimated him.
Folks, TD report. Stick a fork in Tampa. They are done.
I can't buy
Stick
that.
a fork in LA Rams. They are done.
I can't buy that one either.
Stick a fork in Green Bay. They are done.
I might buy that one. I might buy that one.
So, as we get to halfway, we're going to get you ready for a Halloween show. Now, Halloween show is 2-year anniversary of Herb Adderley passing away. We're going to try to get his wife, his ex-wife, his daughter, maybe their kid, his grandkids. We're going to try to get those folks on the show to, give us a thing for the original Shutdown Corner.
What about Greg Eaton? Is he gonna be able to come on the show too?
Maybe we're gonna talk to Greg Eaton about coming on, so people can give you a little history here for a guy who was the first African American drafted by Vince Lombardi, the only African American sitting with 6 Super Bowl and NFL championships. The only person that got more than him is Tom Brady.
Hold on, real quick. Tampa Bay is missing Hicks at D tackle, Carlton Davis at cornerback, Antonio Winfield at safety.
24-21 Ravens. So if you're playing at home,
Hold on. The Ravens are without Calais Campbell, and middle linebacker Bynes is out tonight as well.
Patrick Queen got a big game coming. Hey, folks, Jody Coleman wishes Browns well. From here, when my Virginia Tech is 0-0, second quarter. Hey, guys, thank you for coming out. Love you guys. What you got, Jody?
Hey, the Browns play Monday night, so I'm gonna come with some fire. We got the Halloween show. We got the Adderley's gonna be
y'all
on.
got the Halloween colors.
We got the Halloween game. We got the Bengals. It's gonna be trick or treat for them Bengals.
Trick or treat, baby. Hey, until Monday night. Remember, there's a game early on in London. There's a game. Duvernay might be gone. The game just kicked off, baby. We'll talk. Sunday morning, 9:30, London. Denver versus Jacksonville. See you. Let's talk.
Peace.